What's the biggest change you've had since about a year ago?
For me, the biggest thing was the mindset stuff where I didn't realize that I was saying a bunch of negative things to myself. And then it's funny, but as you say those negative things, you create them, if that makes sense, right? So if every day you wake up, you're like, oh, it fucking sucks to be awake, you're automatically creating a shitty day versus if you wake up, oh man, so lucky to be alive. And I didn't realize it was that simple, but it starts by the things you say to yourself. And then over time, you can change those thoughts. So for example, you know, around the house, you've seen I call it my document. And so when I say that morning and night, I do notice my life goes better. When I start missing, I immediately notice my life doesn't go as well because those thoughts are not coming to the top of my mind and those old thoughts replace them. That's probably the biggest thing. And I think it was the most simple thing. And that's why I didn't believe it worked, because it was too simple.
All right, explain to the people, what is this sheet? Because sometimes I'm more of a spiritual person too. I like meditation and positive affirmations and stuff like that. But sometimes I think, you know, I see clients that you've had in the past that I'm friends with that do like the weirdest shit just to start their day. I'm like, all right, I don't vibe with that. But like, explain to people so they don't understand.
Yeah,
what
so
are you talking about?
the document's not that crazy. The document starts with basically what you want to become. So one of the things I say in there is I say, I'm the world's best boyfriend. I treat Hansika like a queen, who's my girlfriend. I say, I'm a strong and powerful leader. People like working for me because I put them before myself. And it can be as short as long as you want, but for me, it's about 30 things. And I just still don't have it fully memorized. It takes a while. And then what happened was I memorized it and then I changed it again. But you put things that empower you and then help you become the person you want to become. So for me, what I notice is as I say those things, when I'm in difficult situations with my girlfriend, the thought that comes to my head is I'm the world's best boyfriend. And I immediately de-escalates most of the situations. I still mess up sometimes, but it's way more rare. And I didn't realize in the past because when she would do something, I'd be like, oh, who the fuck, she doesn't get it. You know, like just negative talk. And then you start creating that situation. So it really just starts down with writing down. The way I would start it is write down all the things that you don't want to have happen, because that's usually easier. And then you just write the opposite and that becomes your document. So you're like, I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be lazy. I don't want to be fat. I like all that stuff. And then you just write the opposite. And that was really the easiest way for me to start writing it. And then once you start doing it, you can add to it. You can add to it. You can take away. And then when I wake up first thing in the morning, that's what I try to do. Last thing I do before I go to bed is read that. And that really helps because over time, you just do it over and over. It's like brushing your teeth. It just naturally starts to happen. And that's why you see some people, I didn't know this, but I would see people who someone would smash into their car and they get out and they're like, are you okay? Like my mom does that. What's wrong with her? But it's because they have that disposition. And so when they get in a tough situation, that's what comes to their head, because all of us are reacting. So when I was learning this, I said, okay, but if I think something's stupid, that's how I'm gonna, respond. But for example, if you told yourself that, usually when someone punches you, what's your reaction? Like, yo, what the fuck are you doing, etc. Exactly. But if you tell yourself a different story, then when that happens, that thought comes to your head and you act differently. But that's what has to happen for you to act differently, because we're all reacting. Most of us go through life just reacting. And so what I realized is once I started doing that, instead of reacting, I'd already chosen how I was going to be in that moment. So when the moment arrives, the thought comes to my head and I act in a way that most people are like, yo, how the fuck did you do that? It just sounds too simplistic that I thought it was bullshit. Like I really did. And it really took someone who was older than me, wiser than me, made more money than me. I mean, he makes crazy money just sitting in his house.